Okay, so I'm going to start with the rule I'm reading, and then I'll go into this whole lessons that I'm doing with you guys. Okay, so I picked Own Your Power. The quote is by Ryan Garcia. Promoters need you. You don't need them. The boxer has leverage, and a lot of boxers don't know that. Okay, here's mine. Know your power and own it. Annihilate and destroy any stories that disempower you or limit you. Empowering emotions sound like this, Simon. I so got this. I'm smart. I'll figure it out. I always do. I'm a beast, Rami. I will win. I am so inspired about my future. Disempowering emotions sound like this. Oh, I want to die. This is such a mess. Freedom is over. I hate it here. My life is over. Everyone is so annoying. I am so irritated. You need an emotion stronger than the disempowering emotions to get rid of them and regain your own power. The empowering emotions need to dominate the disempowering ones. Through self-talk, self-discipline, and movement, you must intervene with yourself and empower yourself. Take charge and be the boss of you. Generate and motivate yourself to own your own power. And when you feel powerless, know how to take it back. Ask yourself, what are my top feel-good emotions that if I put myself in that state of being would cause those disempowering emotions to disappear? For me, they're gratitude, joy, surrender, decisiveness, powerful, whole, and unlimited. Your emotional state affects everything. When you get in a certain state, your story changes accordingly. So the secret is to first change your state and then you change your story. Practice feeling elevated emotions with clear intentions. Feeling is everything. The fastest way to change your state is to move your body and get into a strong and powerful state. Stand up straight, the posture, strength, and power. Get moving so you feel better. Movement is medicine. Use affirmations and incantations to affirm, like mirror work I told you guys, and remind yourself of your own power. Incantations are a series of words said as a magical spell. They involve your entire being, not just saying the words. Practice them daily. Like you, Rami, in the mirror. I'm a bad motherfucker. You have to like get into it. It's like a whole body movement. So an affirmation, you just say it. I feel great, I feel great. But an incantation is you're moving your body with it. Every day in every way, I'm getting better and better. So it's in movement. So it's an incantation, you take on the whole body of it. Incantations are a series of words said as a magical spell. They involve your entire being, not just saying the words. Practice them daily, hundreds of times over and over again. Say them with passion and move your body to match. Like, I love my life, I do everything I want. You're always dancing, so you can do it while you're dancing. Explore the part of you, the part of yourself. Build that muscle so that part of you shows up rather than the disempowering part of you. Ask yourself, why do I really want to say that? Ask yourself, why do I really want what I say I want? You need to be emotionally fit and then own your own power. Like in the dating world, I teach girls and young women self-respect and honor to preserve themselves for only the super special in due time. If more girls and women would realize that they have leverage when they own their own power, the dating scene would dramatically change. We get in life what we accept and tolerate. If we did not accept things or tolerate them, they would not keep showing up in our realities. Know your power and then own it. Boxers are extremely powerful and they never give their power away. Otherwise, they would lose for sure. Boxers know their power, generate power, and feel powerful because they are. We sell shirts that say boxers hit it harder because they do. All right, here's a quote from Marianne Williamson. I love it. Everyone probably knows this quote. Return to love. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. You playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to manifest the glory of God that was within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Know that you are powerful beyond measure and own your own power.
Which chapter is that?
I closed it, I don't know. Oh, here. 7. 7, own your power, which is great to even start into this. Okay, so speaking of start into this, because I'm like queen of owning my own power my whole life, like doing it my way, having it my way, opening my mouth if it wasn't my way. So, okay, so the wisdoms, so I wrote a first book, which I kind of shared with you guys a little. I got to like 300 pages. It was like a joke because I was going to call it Writing on a Plane because I had to literally fly to Asia to write. And it's hard when you're writing a novel to like always be in that same emotional state when you sit another time, right? Like, I don't know how people write novels and they keep the emotion going when they sit in all different times. So everyone always asks me, how did you start a boxing gym? How did you get involved in this? What's your story? You taught in prison. So my whole life and I was tired of it. So I was like, write a book. I'm gonna write a book. So I wrote my whole story. And because I grew out of adversity and everything I talk about is like a boxer and growing out of adversity and how you can have the whole world when you had nothing. And a lot of people that are super great in the world came from nothing. You hear their story and they came from adversity. And that's what boxers are, where the have-nots became the haves. So I thought of my story and I wrote my whole story, 300 pages, of everything it took, all the ingredients it took for me to persevere and come out of adversity. So that was my first book. But then I did a writer's workshop and the Hay House company was like, the world does not want to hear your story. You need to come out with something smaller and quicker and more catchy, and then you can tell your story. So that's why I did 101 Rules to Being the Champion of Your Life, because I was like, oh, that's quick. It didn't start 101. It started at 20 and then 50, and I thought the number 101 was cool. So I went to 101. Funny, a lot of the wisdoms are not in it because it's not rules to be a boxer. Like don't make things heavy and significant. Some of those rules are not for the boxer. So anyway, throw out the whole book. And I was like, I didn't want the book to be a waste because I wrote 300 pages. So I took the wisdoms and I turned it into a course. So this is that, and I called it Wisdoms of Heroine Ages because it's a heroine. I'm the girl, I'm the heroine, and it's a hero and it's her own win. So it's like I am the hero of my story. So that was the whole story of everything I came through. So I'm going to share with you my wisdoms. I'll share with you stories that I was able to obtain these traits because of the stories of like crazy, right? Our mess is our message. You want your mess to be your message. Otherwise your mess keeps being your mess. It's either going to turn into a message or you're going to live in it and it's going to keep being a mess. So, oh, I wanted to read the big piece. The missing piece meets the big O. Okay, so before I go into the wisdoms, I want to read you this book that I always tell you about. And whenever I take on a client, I always read them this book because it's quick and it's simple and everyone is seeking outside of them. And it's funny how own your own power. And I said, everything we say, we could say change your thoughts, change your energy, change whatever. But I was even telling Ava tonight, you can't change anything until you change your breath because you have to regulate. You can't be happy with an angry breath. You can't be like and be like happy. They're not going to go together. You want to regulate yourself and calm down, and then you can think more clearly. That's why people go calm down, right? Calm down, breathe normal, calm down. So this is the best. I'm not going to tell you what it is. You're going to know what it is. Shel Silverstein, The Missing Piece Meets the Big O. Oh, yes, thank you. Okay. So the missing piece sat alone, waiting for someone to come along and take it somewhere. Some fit, but could not roll. Others could roll, but did not fit. One didn't even know a thing about fitting, and another didn't know a thing about anything. One was too delicate. Pop. One put it on a pedestal and left it there. Some had too many pieces missing. Some had too many pieces, period. It learned to hide from the hungry ones, and then more came. Some looked too closely. Others rolled right by without even noticing. It tried to make itself more attractive. It didn't work. It tried being flashy, but that just frightened away the shy ones. It was like, here. At last, one came along that fit just right. But all of a sudden, the missing piece began to grow and grow. I didn't know you were going to grow. I didn't know it either, said the missing piece. I'm looking for my missing piece, one that won't increase. And then one day, one came along who looked different. What do you want of me? Asked the missing piece. Nothing. What do you need from me? Nothing. Who are you? Asked the missing piece. I am the Big O, said the Big O. I think you are the one I've been waiting for, said the missing piece. Maybe I'm your missing piece. But I'm not a missing piece, said the Big O. There's no place you would fit. That's too bad, said the missing piece. I was hoping that perhaps I could roll with you. You can't roll with me, said the Big O. But perhaps you could roll by yourself. By myself? A missing piece can't roll by itself. Have you ever tried? Asked the Big O. But I have sharp corners, and the missing piece, said the missing piece. I am not shaped for rolling. Corners wear off, said the Big O, and shapes change. Anyway, I must say goodbye. Perhaps we will meet again. And away it rolled. The missing piece was alone again. For a long time, it just sat there. Then slowly it lifted itself up on one end and flopped over, and then lift and pull and flop. It began to move forward, and soon its edges began to wear off. Lift, pull, flop, lift, pull, flop, and its shape began to change. And then it was bumping instead of flopping, and then it was bouncing instead of bumping, and then it was rolling instead of bouncing, and it didn't know where and it didn't care. It was rolling.
Started adapting at the end.
Huh?
Started adapting into the environment, right?
No, I realize it's got to roll on its own.
Right.
There's nobody that's ever going to fit. There's no one. We could keep saying, I want a girl, I want this, I want that, I want that. You're never, like I love Joe Dispenza always goes, would you date yourself? Like you have to make sure you are who you want to date. So all the qualities you want in a person, but this, he's constantly looking like, are you my mother? Are you my mother? None of them are it. There's no missing piece. You got to roll on your own and then you two roll together. So it's not looking for like, what else is missing from me? Nothing's missing from you. You roll on your own. So I love showing people that because they really look outward for what's missing and they look for what they can do to make themselves happy. The whole world, right? Like what can I go get? Or they go buy something or they get a quick fix and they get the dopamine hit and they get a quick happy and then they're sad again. No, because they're not rolling on their own. They're getting the quick outer fix. You need to be happy on the inside. Okay, so first one. Well, this is a good one leading up to it because we're going to go into live on purpose, okay? So that's going to be the first one. It's going to be on live on purpose, know your purpose, live purposely on purpose. So this, I stop here for this because moments between the notes create the music. That's why, Simon, I say so you say an affirmation or an incantation. Have an affirmation that serves you, that gets you out of your funk. So if you're in a little bit of a funk, you could be your own cheerleader and cheer yourself up. And I never had a better one than it's perfect where I'm at, nowhere to get to for me. That was mine, that made me feel good. So for me, the moments between the notes, it's a tattoo. It's such a cross to bear and something I have to remember that when I'm in the slump, there's when to hold them, when to fold them, when I'm in a moment, when it's momentum, when I'm supposed to take forward, just like they teach their seasons to things, winter, spring, summer, or fall. When I'm in a space, when I need to rest, when I need to go. So play with that in the space. Don't stay down too long. The goal is to get back up. These things, okay, so you know what? Raise your hand if you are living your purpose right now. Okay. Raise your hand if you look for your purpose. If you feel like you're looking to find your purpose. What are you doing?
I know my purpose.
Oh, you know, are you living your purpose?
I am working towards living my purpose.
And raise your
I
hand.
could kind of say I'm living my purpose.
Raise your hand.
Okay.
For one of the two things.
Okay, so listen, a lot of times I like to tell people when they're like not sure and then they think like, oh, well, my purpose isn't as good as theirs, so maybe I'm not living my purpose, right?
Well,
No, I wasn't meaning you.
yeah,
I'm just
no,
saying,
But I'm saying the reason where I'm at with it is, so I don't know. In my mind, working towards getting to where I want to be, I think that is my purpose in life. That's part of life. That's part of the beautiful part of life is the journey.
it is a beautiful part of life and it is a beautiful part of the journey, and you want to live on purpose so you don't feel like you constantly are disempowered finding your purpose, because it's nothing to find, guys. It's nothing like you're gonna like look under a table and all of a sudden you find your purpose. It's doing what you love, right? So if you do what you love and you combine it all. So for me, it's funny, I found my purpose out of desperation, right? I ran away really young at 16, and my first bachelor's was chemistry, so I was supposed to be a doctor, which would have been really funny. And I wanted to finish school really fast because I wanted to get out of my house and I wanted to finish, and I needed a quick, I thought it was me being lazy. I was like, how do I finish school the quickest? I went to North Campus FIU and I was like, I need a degree quick, I need to get out. They said there's this 2-year degree, no 2-year degree. There's a 2-year scholarship program called Focus for our children in urban settings, and you have to teach for 2 years for free, and you get to go for free. It's a scholarship. So I said, oh, how do I sign up? They said 30 people get in every 2 years. So I was like, okay. So here I go. I'm a doctor. Now I'm going to go be a teacher. So it was like such a big change for me and such a disappointment to my family, because they thought I was going to be like the doctor of the family, the lawyer of the family, and I wanted to be a teacher. And you know what's funny? It was out of desperation because I didn't know I wanted to be a teacher. I just wanted to finish school, right? I wanted to get out of my house. I had such I was running away. Finally, at 16, my mom didn't call the police, and she was like, okay, I didn't have to go back. So I was literally living out of my car to get into this program, and then found my calling, right? I didn't even know teaching was my calling. I was going to be, it's really hard when you're in college and you're picking and you don't know, and then you just go down roads. But the best thing is to know what you don't like. It's really just as important to know what you don't like. So I tell people when they're looking for their purpose and you were like, yeah, I'm living it, no, I'm looking for it, and no one is staying in action. Because when you stay in action, you go, oh no, I don't like that. Oh no, no, like I did the apparel. I was like, oh no, I don't like the apparel business. I don't want to do that, right? So I learned what I don't like. And it's okay to say no. It's okay to say, I don't like this anymore, right? So integrity, which we'll get to, integrity is one, but it's so deep. And integrity is not just honoring your word. You're not a tree. You can move, you can change your mind, keep an empowering context. So if you said, oh, I'm not coming tonight because I partied and did it, it's not an empowering context, because now you're cutting off more stuff that you didn't do, right? So the integrity was the important part, to come and grin and bear it, because otherwise you're doing more of what you did. So the empowering context is if she was like, I just got 2 tickets to a rave and they're like, I got a spotlight, and I'd be like, hell yeah, go, right? So she has to make a choice. But she promised she'd be here. That's her integrity. So the empowering context is the choice where she would go is more beneficial. And me as a teacher or coach or even a friend I would be like, hell yeah, go, right? You want to put someone where their time is most maximized. So I did a program called Landmark. Actually, I'm going to tell you this story. So when I was from 98 to 2007, I was married. We had these gyms. I was a teacher, right? And I was getting into the purpose. So imagine, right, going and 2007 economic crash, the whole economy crashed, and I'm walking in my house, and my ex-husband, and it's part of the reason I married my ex-husband was because he like worshipped me and loved me, and he said his job was to make me happy and laugh, and it was great. We had a great marriage. We lived like boxing stars. It was beautiful till it wasn't beautiful anymore, right? And one day I'm walking in my kitchen and I see my best friend, and she walks in, and I get a note, and I open up the note, and it says, thank you for enlightening me and changing my life. It's time to go on to the next chapter of my life. So imagine you are married 10 years, and then you look in the bedroom and everything's cleared out. You look in the closet, everything. So imagine when your life is like confetti up in the air and you don't even know what you're doing next because you're like, holy shit, everything's in chuck. That's why I love Own Your Own Power, and that's why life is happening for us, not to us. And be very clear, anytime negative things happen that seem negative, you get clear that life is happening for you and not to you. So now what my mantra was, every day I met someone, because imagine I was a mess. Like I was like, they had to have meetings at the gym. Everyone thought he worshiped me. So they were like, what? Trevor, Jolie, splitting. It was like a whole in the public eye divorce. What do you do? What do you do? How do you pick up? How do you move forward? You need those affirmations. You need those things that have you take one foot and put it in front of the other, and then have the other foot go in front of the other. And gratitude is the way, which I was gonna end up working with you a little bit too on finding your purpose, which I'm really happy you're doing so many gratitude practices, because gratitude is the door to abundance. For sure, it's the greatest state of receivership. So I was at rock bottom. I didn't even know how to do shit on my own, because when you give over control and you let someone do everything for you, it's almost like you can't do it anymore. So I had to learn one step at a time, literally how to pay bill, how to do the whole thing, how to do everything. I only knew my role. Like when you're married and you have roles and someone else has roles, now all of a sudden you got to learn all the roles again. So I was like, I'm not giving up my roles anymore. I'm gonna keep these roles. I don't wanna like give up my independence anymore. So I got to own my mantra. Every time I met someone that was great, I would say, oh my God, I would have never met you if I stayed married. Oh my God, if I stayed married, I would have never met you. And glimpses of amazing miracles started to show up in my life. And always do the next right thing. Like nobody hurts you. He didn't do anything to me. He did me a favor. And he didn't do it to me, right? Everywhere you go, there you are. I was clear. So, which I'm going to get into other stories of other wisdoms like communication, but right? Imagine I thought he was the worst communicator in the world because I got a note. But then before I pointed the finger and said, oh, he's the worst communicator, I was like, holy shit, I must be the worst communicator because I attracted this worst communicator. So that's why I went to Landmark and said, I need a communication course. And they were like, no, you got to do the Landmark Forum first. And I was like, I just want the communication course. And they were like, you got to do the Landmark Forum first. It's pretty funny that I didn't do the communication course till I was like at the end to be a Landmark Forum leader, because I went through their whole system of becoming a leader, but really learning to communicate. And when I tell you integrity and communication and creation comes from nothing, not something. So when I was in my work of Landmark, I call my husband. I need to talk. I made up with my mother. Imagine I didn't talk to my mother my whole life. And if you told me I was going to go to this program and talk to my mother and call her, I'd be like, I'm not going. And I make up with her after, I don't know, I was 33, 16 years of not talking to her. I make up with her at the Landmark Forum. I call her Mom. I'm like shaking, 16 years. Because you got to clear your space. I call my mom. I called Trevor. I called everybody, like crying, taking responsibility for everything that shows up for myself in my life so I could clear my space. And now all of a sudden I'm talking to my mother. Now I'm talking to my sister. Now I'm calling everybody. Mom, I know I thought you were weak and you sucked as a mother, and I made all that up, and I'm so sorry, and I'm committed to seeing you for who you are. And right, so my sister would call me and I'd be like, what, Heather? The second she called me, I'd be like, what, Heather? Poor thing. Like, she could never show up as anything else. And I'm sure you guys can relate to people in your life that the second you answer the phone, you have a tone with them, right? So there's no creation comes from nothing, not something. An emotion is from the past. If you have an emotion, it's tied to the past. So then it's like, how do you have a new emotion? Get in gratitude, get in stillness, get in the space, because it's all tied to the past. So purpose, right? So my purpose got flipped. He wrote in the note, I was going to bring it here for Exhibit A, bring you the note since I have it. But it's funny because throughout my marriage and why we do things and why it's important to work on ourselves harder than ourselves than we do on our job, because I had the issue of leave. If you call me a brat, or you imagine marriage, you got to work things out. You're in the same room. You got to make it work because you're under the same roof. And I'd say leave. And he'd be like, I'm never leaving you. And I'd be like, leave. Through the whole. And I didn't realize till I did all the work on myself that I would push people away because my dad died, and I thought men leave. And then you'd be like, huh? You get so stumped, right? Because you don't know what you don't know. And when it comes up here and you're like, whoa, I do that? Why would it matter that my dad died when I was 2 and I'm making men leave? Well, it's my daddy. It's your first love. So I don't do that anymore, right? The constraints of the past don't hold you anymore. So then you have almost like a an electrical short where you're like, what do I do now? Right? I used to do that, now I don't do that, right? So you find your way and you do new things and you don't let the past hold you. So that's why your message becomes your message. And the past you don't want to hold you anymore. Whatever, my mom kicking me out, my husband leaving me a note, telling all those stories would have made me cry before, but you get wisdom, you get tough, you get strong, and you know that life is happening for you. You know that it's all a blessing, and it's, you know, it's like the Michelangelo I always say, everything in life is about the uncovering of you, the uncovering and discovering. It's already inside of you. You're just uncovering, ooh, there's that of me. Uncovering more, oh, there's that of me. So what can you uncover to live your purpose, not find your purpose? Like every day, I heard some of you say, I wake up and I'm like, oh God, not another day, right? Oh God, I have to wake up. So, and I get it, if you're not a morning person, you want to wake up like that and you're like, oh, but your purpose needs to light your fire. And not always, like I live to serve, make a difference in the world. Every interaction I'm looking to serve. So I don't wake up and go, ooh, today I'm going to serve again and interaction. And I'm not like that, but I have to bring myself into the bliss, right? So how do I bring myself into bliss? Well, I'm really good at it now, right? Because I meditate and I practice, and the Chinese torture of practicing when you do it over and over again. And now I get into bliss a lot quicker. So then I can be like, woo, changing the world. I love changing people's lives. And I go into bliss a lot quicker. So that's the key. How do you get into bliss the quickest? How do you live your purpose? How do you surrender to being okay with what you're doing now is perfect where you're at and know where to get to, and you are living your purpose? And then how do you keep uncovering more of your purpose? The problem is we let comparisons steal our joy, and we look around and we go, oh, our purpose might not be as good as his, and she's saving the world, and I'm just like sewing.
There's also too, like when you have your purpose, you know what your purpose is. Like that doesn't mean you're guaranteed to not have days where you feel depressed, or to not have days where you had a bad day, or to not have all those things.
Both are not guaranteed. Both are not guaranteed with.
All those things exist at the same time.
I'll have to say though, when you acknowledge that you're living your purpose or you're doing things on purpose, you're more aligned with who you are.
Absolutely.
Because you're connected, yes. But of course you're having breakdowns, but the breakdowns are more worth it because you're living your purpose. You're not sewing buttons for someone else. Yeah, so when you do it, it's like what inspires you. Like I tell Romeo, so I love everything I created. I love it all. Do I like every single part of the job? No, I do my own books. I do my own journaling. I do my own accounting. Do I like that part? And then you would go delegate it out. No, I want to know my numbers. It's the only way I'm going to know my numbers, so I do it myself. But there's some parts of the job I don't like, but just like a stock market, the majority of my job I like. If I don't like something and I can outsource it, I will outsource it, because the goal is to be happy and do what you do best and delegate the rest, right? You don't want to spend too much time on what you don't like, what you suck at, and that you can delegate to someone else. Even if you don't have much of a, like, it's not a story of resources, it's always a story of resourcefulness. What can you trade? What can you do for someone else that they could do for you, that maybe you don't like this and they don't like that, but you can do it and team up? Because you can always have your way, and you always create the win-win. So in Landmark, in all my studies in Landmark, I got very clear that I was a Stanford transformation, to the point where I was going to give up my whole life for Landmark, because they had 28 leaders around the world and you had to like literally give up your life for transformation. And then I got the gym back. So it was like the dilemma of, do I take the gym or do I go lead Landmark around the world? And then I could be Landmark Forum, Distinction, Transformation. I transform the world through the gym, which is why we're up your butts for every little thing. And right, how could I tell you, oh, you're gonna lose weight and get in shape, and then I don't hold you accountable? Or, oh, cool, we'll do it. Like, you won't see us in lack of integrity here. We say we're gonna do it, we call you, we finish up, we send you a card, I'm like queen of communication. Queen of being the last one to give feedback. Queen of being, you'll see, like anytime you guys communicate, I'm the last one to communicate. I am not leaving it where I'm not the last one. I'm always finishing it off. I'm always finishing the space. I'm always playing with the moments between the notes, create the music, and playing with the space. And did I clear the space? Did I go tell my mom, now I took responsibility, right? So my mom ends up dying on my birthday, which I think a lot of you know. I was having a party here. There's so many things you have to do when you're like an entrepreneur, you're handling people. It's like the Disney World guy, Iverson or whatever. I watched him, he had to tell the guy, his kid got eaten by an alligator at the same time he's opening China. So it's like, how do you prioritize, and how do you put in your back pocket, your mother just died, but you have a party here in front of you, right? And then my mother died, and I was like, God was with me the whole time, right? He was so good to me because she couldn't talk. She had a coma, and I got to be there every day because it was right down the street while she had the coma. And it's crazy when you have to make a decision, like, I have a party here. My mom just had a coma and an aneurysm. Like, what do you decide? Well, I got to finish the party. You got to like finish it up, close everything up. And then I went over to my mom, which was beautiful, because imagine not getting along with your mom your whole life, then doing this work when you're a grown up where you end up making up with her. But we didn't talk when she died because we had this fight. My mom was a hoarder, a screamer, bipolar. She was everything. I'm grateful she got to pass away when she did, because she was very miserable her whole life from my dad dying. And imagine, but I left my mom with choice, which is another one. I said, Mom, if you're gonna scream and yell every time I call, I can't have a relationship with you. See, these are boundaries, and these are you get what you tolerate, and this is how you create the win-win, by coming from a place of love. That's why I always teach, fight from a place of love. So I said, Mom, I love you so much, and I would love to have a relationship with you. I just can't for me when you scream, because it gets me frantic. So when you don't want to scream, call me. I'm here. Like, call me. And she went ballistic, right? Because I have to keep being me, and you be you, and that's the key for life, right? I can only control me. She went, I can't paint rainbows in the sky, and I can't pretend life is beautiful. So I said, call me when you can, because she was like screaming. And that's it. Then she dies. So it's like, holy shit. So thank God for the work I did on myself, because if I didn't leave her with choice and I left it with how we didn't talk for 16 years, I'd be a very different person right now standing here. It would be a whole very different thing of my mom dying on my birthday and not talking. Own your power. Choose powerfully. You get what you tolerate. So have boundaries in a way. I know it's so hard to think of, like, it's such an issue for people to speak up and not feel rude and be able to own their power and honor the person in front of them. It's like, how do I honor you and honor me at the same time? And then that's the question you ask yourself before you spit it out of your mouth. So I think of, how do I honor? Heather, I said, Heather, I'm so sorry. Every time you answer the phone, I give you no shot to show up anything different than annoying, and I'm so sorry, and I'm not gonna do that anymore. But I had to generate myself. That wasn't easy, because to me, she was annoying. So it's like, how do I change annoying to not annoying? But generate and generate and generate, and I'd come from compassion. Before she'd pick up the phone, I go, Jolie, have compassion. You're gonna come from compassion. I sit in compassion, and there I am, and I hear it all through compassion. And now we have a beautiful relationship. We get along really great, and she doesn't bother me at all. And it's because I love to travel, and I like to have money, and I wanted to have what I wanted. So I was like working all over the place. And then I was like, how do I have it all? Like, how do I have the money from the bartending, and then like the travel, and then I love teaching, right? And then remember I said you only have to ask once. God delivers. Stay in action and God delivers. I didn't know 30 years later I was gonna get to have it all together. And now it's really funny. I was telling Ava today, my second book is really funny because I get mad when the kids come in the room and they have dead phones, because I'm like, where were you, sitting in school all day on your phone? They have dead phones. And I said, you got to know who's in your room. How could I ever think I'm going to teach you something and I don't even know how you learn? I don't know if you want to see it. I don't know if you want to hear it. So I just lost my thought with the kids.
Who was on their phone?
Yeah.
Who's in your room?
Oh, the book of questions. Oh my God, how funny. I lost the same thought this morning. I'm not meant to tell you about my book of questions. This is the same thought this morning. So it's funny that questions are everything. Questions are like, what are the questions you're asking yourself? Oh my God, why am I such a dumb motherfucker? Oh my God, I'm so stupid. Start noticing the things you're saying to yourself subconsciously, and they're in questions. Like, why am I so stupid? Why am I so fat? Why can't I figure this out? Because you're a fucking idiot. You're asking the wrong questions. Like, you gotta ask better questions. So it's like, okay, let me stop myself. Okay, let me see this conscious programming that's running through my mind. What am I saying to myself? Oh, it's stupid. You shouldn't have gone out. Like, take a step back and watch that video that's going on in your head. Like, oh, you shouldn't do this. Oh, you shouldn't. Oh, maybe if you went to the party, you didn't do this. And you're like, integrity first, right? You were like, I'm going to have integrity. I'm going to do this. And it's putting it all in perspective. Ask questions. Ask questions, get better answers. You want to tell me something? Oh. Okay, let me see if we have time to get to one more. I think we'll do one more. Okay. Let's see if I have a story. Okay, that's my blooper one, my story for my bloopers. Invest in yourself fully.
You can share
So,
it through the PowerPoint.
no, you could take a picture of it though. No.
I can share it with you.
Yeah. I can't begin to tell you, invest in yourself, right? Like if you have a course to take or you're going to learn more video, that's why I wouldn't say don't read a book. But I would say if you have 3 books to read, either read them all and get over it and stop talking about it, or pick like which one's going to be more important and most beneficial for you right now. Because I just did the video today, in a world of information, ignorance is a choice, right? Joe Dispenza says that all the time. But in a world of information, you got to sift and sort now. We have so much stuff coming at us, they can't even give you stuff free. So invest in yourself fully, which I love. It's so funny because people look at a book. My book is $18. I don't want to tell people to buy my book to the point where I'm like, get my book, you should really get my book. And I have to keep saying, get my book. Because I get $2, right? So it's not the money, it comes from a printing company. But you spend $20 on a drink. People come up to me literally, it's like the bloopers of a gym when they come in like, oh, I'm so fat, I'm so out of weight. Everybody that comes up for a million years, I'm so fat. And then the next thing that I don't commit, well, then you're going to be fat. It's like, stay that way. You know, it's like you're burying yourself with your own words. Oh my God, I'm so fat, I'm so out of shape, but I don't commit. And people say, oh, I really need help, and I really need this, and I really need that. Oh, $20, I'll get it later. I'm already reading 3 books, they say. Read your freaking books. How long are you going to read them for? How long are you going to have those 3 books sitting on your side table? When are you going to get the information you need? So people's priorities are messed up because they'll spend $20 on a drink, but they won't spend $20 on a book. They'll spend $20 to get in somewhere, and then they'll be like, oh, the book. So I never had that issue. I was a book whore. I have like, if you come to my house, I am a hoarder with books. I have probably over 1,500 books in personal development and psychology in my house. Layers and layers in all my wall units, but it looks like the Buddha lives there. You would never know until I start opening stuff and you see books. So I took so many courses, so many everything to get better, because when you want life to get better, you need to get better. Life does not get better until you get better. So anything that's missing from life, you have to say, what's missing for me? What skills can I go get? What tools can I go get? How do I learn more? Who can I talk to? Who can I meet? Success leaves clues, right? Same with me with my back stuff. I was never into Joe Dispenza. I looked him up for the back issue. He solved his back issue from meditating. I was like, I'm gonna do what this guy does. I was ready to, like, if you told me lick a frog, I'd lick a frog. Anything that was not putting me in the surgeon's office. So whatever it took to not have it that way and have it this way, I did, right? So you have to, that's the first thing you do when you want something. Find role models, find people that do what you do, and then find out how they do it. Ask them questions. So I don't know if there's ever a course that you're like, oh, should I take it? Should I not take it? Or if there's ever a time in life where you're like, I didn't do it. Don't do that anymore. Take the course, spend the money. Experiences and money into yourself is like in that stock market. It's like future value for yourself. Take all the courses you need. When you're not training, someone's training to kick your ass, which is true, right? I say champions are made when no one's watching. And the reason why so many people are successful in the gym with all of their goals is because we hold them accountable, and we hold you accountable, and then you know we're watching, right? And everyone likes to be watched. I even want to cheat on my workouts when I'm not in the class. So that's why I constantly do the classes, so I don't have to cheat. It's so much harder when you're not being watched, right? We all want to mess up when we're not being watched. So what are we really doing when we're not being watched? And what are the results? You could tell what people are doing when you're not watching by seeing the results. If they're fat, you know they're eating, right? So you know what people are doing. Work harder on yourself than anything else. I don't think there's anything I've ever worked on more than myself. Like, if you're fat, you know you eat more. I listened to this video the other day. He literally said, I think it was Eric Berg. He's like, when you're overweight, you eat more. I was like, okay. Okay, that's the answer. Okay, your greatest investment. Like, you are your greatest investment, right? Because you have no one else to blame. It's only you. Put all your money in you. Like, if you're gonna bet on something, bet on you, and then do what it takes to back it up.
And a little cocaine.
And a little.
Back in the day.
I like that. Gain all the skills you need, read whatever, everything it takes, invest in yourself fully. Is there something, all of you are trying to have your best year, not trying, we are gonna have this as our best year ever, right? So what, in order for 12/31 to be like, oh my God, this is the best year ever I've ever had in my life, what things do you need to do to invest in yourself? There's no way who you are now is who you're going to be December 31st, and then what do you need to become that? Maybe the book, maybe other book. What do you need? If you see yourself 12/31, where do you want to see yourself? What do you need to do to invest in yourself? Every year before I hit January, I know what courses I'm doing for the year to make and grow myself into a better version of myself. So I'm always like whatever author I'm chasing that year. So always have something that you're enrolled in, that you're learning, that you're growing, that you're expanding, that you're going to be better tomorrow than you were today. Because you can, if you keep doing what you're doing, and get what you get, and you're going to be in the same spot. Have you guys before this group, do you feel like you've done things in the past to work on yourself?
Yes.
Raise your hand if you don't feel like you have. So I'm like, you're a badass. Yeah, I'm like, you've been working on yourself your whole life. Good, exactly. That's why you're in this group, right? Because you want to make a difference and you want to grow and you want to be more excellent and you want to be a bad motherfucker. Keep investing in yourself. And when you have a breakdown of like, oh my God, this sucks, this isn't working, none of this is working, right? It's okay, be in that space. Breakthroughs are around the corner. You just have to have a breakdown. You know how many breakdowns I had in writing this last book? Like, I'm just going to tell everyone I'm not writing it. I'm just going to quit and not do it. They don't really need this one. They don't really, like, we rationalized to get ourselves out. So what? So I took the day off 500 times. Like, there were so many days. And so many people came up to me and they were like, you wrote another book already? I'm thinking, if you only knew how many days I just slack, right? Because we know what we're doing when we're not doing it. And ultimately, how much time on the book. I could have put it out sooner. But I needed the procrastination. You need the negative. You need the down. Because now you came back up and you're like, oh, thank God I came out. This is great. Now I see this. And right, every day's a learning. Then you're like, oh, I'm not going to go back there. If I don't cook my food tomorrow, I'm going to feel mad at myself. So now I'm going to go cook my food. Now you know what's going to pull you off your reins. Did you do anything to be able to get to where you are with all that? You were just like, I'm putting the bananas in the refrigerator and getting my food. Yeah, exactly. There becomes a point where you have to go, just shut up and put the friggin' bananas in the freezer. Like how I stopped looking at my social media in the morning. I was like, all right, I'm gonna move my iPad. I'm gonna move my thing. I'm gonna delete my social media. I was like, Jolie, shut up already. Just don't do it. And then I drew a line in the sand. No is the answer. I'm not looking at my social media when I wake up because I was ruining my meditations. So there's a point where you decide, and now all of a sudden you're cooking your meals. Isn't it amazing? It's amazing how, like, you look back and you're like, why wasn't I doing it before? And now I'm doing it. And then you were like, what's between the space between when I wasn't doing it and now that I am doing it? A decision, a change of energy. You got to change your energy to change your, right? So you can't be in the slump. Don't make a decision when you're miserable. That's what I used to do when I was upset, right? The employee would piss me off and I go fire them. I didn't know how to, like, calm down. I didn't know how to, like, wait for things to settle, or let me see how I could create the win-win. Always wait. Oh, I was telling you before, and I'm gonna finish on this one. Have phrases, because I love teaching full self-expression and how to honor yourself. Have phrases that are bridges that get you to honor yourself and honor the other person, like, I trust you to figure it out, or by when do I have to get back to you by, or let me think about that and I'll get back to you tomorrow. You don't always have to give an answer. And when you feel like you're a little nervous, you go, hold on, let me process that. Like, have a space where you...
Would you mind repeating those phrases again?
Yeah. I trust you'll figure it out.
No, you can just, yeah.
Yeah, I trust you'll figure it out. And sorry, that just doesn't work for me. What will work for me is this. I always say thank you for sharing. No thanks. I appreciate it. I appreciate your viewpoint, right? The key is to acknowledge and then say what you're willing to tolerate. So I always say, oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And this is what I'm doing. Right? So then I say, I'm not intimidating. You're intimidated. Because people always go, whoa, okay, thank you. It's like strong, right? It's like, oh, okay. But it sets them straight. Now they get it. They get my boundary. They get what I want. They got the, and I served it. I got it. Thank you for sharing. I acknowledge them. She doesn't walk away upset. Or I trust you'll figure it out, right? And my sister, I trust you'll figure it out. You always do. And it gives you that space to have your space back and always reclaim your space. All right, I'm gonna finish at invest in yourself fully. There's 12 wisdoms. I only have a 13th because it's hire a coach, which obviously I would always say hire a coach. You have me as your coach, but everyone needs a coach and every coach needs a coach and we all need that. So in Landmark there's what you know, right? And you know what you know, and you know your shirt's pink and you know your shoes are gray and you know that. And then there's what you don't know, right? And what you don't know, how much do you think you know versus you don't know? Percentage on a pie.
I know like 1%.
Yeah, exactly. In the knowing world, we know like not even. It's like this little percent, right? So then there's like that, the rest of the world, which you don't know, right? But there's what you don't know, right? Like you don't know how to ride a helicopter, right?
No, I don't know accounting.
Right, you don't know accounting, right? There's a whole world of that pie of what you don't know. So that's the reason you have these accountability partners and you have these coaches, because they show you your blind spots where you're like, oh, and you can see a whole new realm of possibility, and you see a whole new realm of possibility. And that's the key in life, right? Because possibility is everywhere. And when you go into the quantum, right, there's billions of possibilities. So it's like, how do you see possibility when there's no possibility? And how do you see what you don't know? How do you get your blind spots to come in front of your face? Coaching, integrity, having a coach. So really there's 12 wisdoms, but the 13th is hire a coach. So I have 10 more left, and we will continue on the next live one. I want to give you, I would like your assignment to be a committed statement. I want you guys to tell me. So when we finished Landmark, we had to get up in front of everybody, right? Because you don't have to do it now, that's your assignment. We have to declare. I had to get up, let people know, but things really opened up. Like I was really like, my whole world opened up where I am a stand for transformation, full self-expression, and joy. Like I had like all of a sudden, I'm like, my life is fulfilled. Like I look back on my Landmark stuff, I'm like, I have all of that. So it's make a committed statement of, I'm committed to doing this, this, and this, and this. And if you want, you can copy mine to do one for yours, but do one that motivates you. Okay, this. See this? I want you to do like that for you. So what do you stand for in life? Like Alicia says, the thing that's lighting her up is that she's inspiring people. So maybe she's actually finding that she loves impacting others and the contribution and the service and really making a difference and inspiring people. Like a big thing for her that she's seeing is the inspiration. So she's committed to inspiring people through fun, and be creative with your statement that moves you and inspires you. I have this, I'll just share with you for a second because you could do a video. So in Joe Dispenza, like when you meditate 5 million hours, you have to do these mind movies. So just so you could see it like a little, you could do these vision boards. So before I meditate, I watch this and I made it for me. See, everything I need is already inside of me. And I watch it. At the end, it's, so I have mine and I watch this. It puts me in the state of like, right, I want to transform the world. Right, I love for kids. Yes, I want to. And then I meditate. So I'm already in that space of ask once, and then you don't keep asking. Now I already know. So when I'm in the dump and I feel like I'm in a dip, I then have faith and belief where I go, Jolie, you didn't do all this work to come this far and only come this far. And then I call it a night. It's okay to be sad that night. I already know the stock of my stock has been so great. My one day is not going to derail me. So this is like 4 minutes, right? And I was in so much pain. So mine is a lot about getting out of pain, free flowing, feeling good. I couldn't even sit. So it was like, I was like, how do you say an affirmation of I have no pain when you can't even move, right? And how do you believe you can actually get out of pain when they're like telling you need immediate fusion surgery? So you got to play with that, like belief and feeling crazy. Like I was like, oh my God, I'm going to straighten my spine like this guy did. Like it was like crazy. The whole spine was messed up. So you can make these. They have vision board movies, which is great. What's the assignment?
Make a committed statement.
Good. And say what you're make a committed statement and what you're a stand for. So what you're, yes. So see my key values, peace, fun, freedom, love, and joy. And we can go over those next week. We'll be back on Zoom and we can go over, I want you to say them out loud. I'll say, I'm not making you wrong or right, or that's why I say like, I don't, by the way, like with your school, did you think I thought it was stupid to go to school or? No. Oh, okay. Because I don't want to disempower you or, nothing I think, even if I think it's stupid, own your power and say, I don't think it's stupid. That's what we teach the kids, like to speak up. I want them to say, I am not listening to you. I tell kids all the time, you don't have to listen to your parents. There's going to be consequences. They might beat the shit out of you. I don't know what happens after that, but you have a choice. They got to know that they have a choice at all times. You can say, shut up. You could tell your parent, go F yourself. It's your choice. They might beat the shit out of you, but be empowered in your choice so you know you're choosing. Otherwise, you're like, I don't know what happened. He said to do that. She told me to do that. And you have no responsibility for your life. So create your statement and let it inspire you. Let it inspire you in such a way where you're like, I'm living my life. I'm committed to this. I'm dedicated to this.